And I'm going to start sharing the screen, okay? And I am going to start with a little bit of a moment to breathe. I think one of the things about our modern world is the complexity and chaos that surround us. And I just want to remind everyone, just take a moment to breathe, a moment of mindfulness, to be present in this moment. Bear with me as I take maybe about 40 minutes or so for this presentation. Hope you'll find it both intellectually stimulating and inspiring, educational. It's not going to be entertaining because I'm not much of a natural entertainer, but I think that you'll find the core ideas here of great use to you. So with that, I will start. And the presentation today, what is a business cooperative? I'll be talking about how this business cooperative is kind of a hybrid live/digital business community and ecosystem. And so the agenda here, well, just introductions, which we are already through. Introduction to small business and what I mean by that. It's kind of a reorientation, a new way of looking at small business. How do we manage in a chaotic world? A bit on cooperatives in general. And then specifically Wayfinders Business Co-op in the model that we're providing. And a closing note on how we are stronger together. So a little bit about myself. I have an education going back 40 years now, and my first degree in philosophy, but I have a master's degree in community development, and I've studied every kind of management that you can think of, really, organizational development, management development, business development, etc. I've been a professional community developer, co-op developer, economic developer, business coach, etc. And I've had my own, some success in business of my own. And so today, as a quick overview, I'm going to be talking about these three models of the world today. From left to right, we are going to be talking about the small business, the chaotic world, and the business co-op. And I'm going to show how these three fit together, how the business co-op help small business manage in the chaotic world. Talking about the co-op as a community in many different respects, assisting the many tasks that small businesses need to address in a chaotic world. Now, every model is a simplification. The map, as they say, is not the territory. And so I will probably, these aren't complete business models, but I'll be talking about the essentials that we need to think about when we're talking about the role of the business co-op in helping small businesses. So as I was saying, if you start from the original terrain, that is the reality of small business or whatever, the community, if you wish, or the world. It's real. And mentally, we create maps or models of that world that simplify. And then we create innovative ideas, crystallize them, place them back into that terrain that is the reality. So it's really about model making or map making and the use of intelligence in our processes. And so we have models of business, models of the world, models of the business co-op, and we also have ideas of what we can do to change things, to make a better world. So I'm going to start off talking about small business and entrepreneurship. And I believe an appropriate place to start is with the small business philosophy. Everybody does have a small business philosophy, everyone who's in business. And it basically, it's either explicit and you've got mission statements and strategies, or it's tacit. That is, it just comes automatically and you're in a flow. But essentially, what happens in this small business philosophy, you ask questions like, what do I value? What is my purpose? How do I apply myself and my wisdom? How do I make a better world? Ultimately, you are in fact already a wayfinder. You are finding your way through complex and chaotic world. We often think of the entrepreneur as a hero and the hero's journey, which is common in the uh, novel writing world. We talk about the hero and the journey they take. Starts with self there up at the top, and we find challenges and we make opportunities to take on those challenges. We find the courage to take action. Sometimes we meet with defeat, but we learn something. We're wiser, we get reborn. Eventually, we come to dominate and master some domain, and then we feel the gratitude and pay it forward. So really, this is a path that most entrepreneurs take in their lifetime if everything goes well. And this is a model that can be used for virtually anyone. Journey of self-discovery, self-actualization. Now, the business model is what you surround yourself with to magnify, amplify, or multiply your resources, your ability to generate value. And it kind of protects you at the same time from the threats in your environment. It's kind of a buffer zone, if you will, or a toolbox. And it starts with the biology, who you are as a biological person, your personality, your skills, your talents, the knowledge that you've gained and contacts and so on. But everyone is unique, and I think we're designed by nature to be complementary so that we're stronger together. So I want to talk about some of the deeper ways in which we actually manage in our world. We have to be able to keep our eye on the ball. What value is it that we're trying to create? Every one of us in our businesses, we take inputs, we add value, and we produce a value-added output. This is a nice, simple way of thinking about, in essence, what it is that each of us does. And in order to do that, we use logic. I'm using logic kind of as a metaphor here. It's the way in which our core ideas are translated through decisions into action. There is kind of a logic flow in this. And when we put these two processes together, what we have here is a management system. It's your ideas and decisions that guide the action processes or value-added processes that turns inputs into valued outputs. Now, this is important because it is, in fact, the essence of intelligence itself. That little feedback loop at the end of the system here is your learning process. You learn from your outputs how to make better decisions, to take better actions, to have a kind of a continuous improvement cycle going on here. This is the essence of intelligence. And as I said earlier, models never are complete. So there is more to this than I'm making out, but we're trying to simplify things. When we add performance feedback, it helps us make better decisions in the future. We can compare the output values against our goals and see if we can narrow the difference in the next round. So we can add a performance dashboard to capture and display key performance indicators for the business. The manager uses this information in a management console to help decide how to make changes to operations so the company can get closer to its goals and targets. We can change the product price, for example, and see how that affects the sales volume and profits. Maybe we can reduce costs of purchasing inputs without sacrificing quality. With various pricing experiments, you can establish price sensitivity in the market. This information becomes part of your business rule book. We can add a bit more to this picture. Using the management console, the manager takes customer requirements from inquiries, orders, or surveys and makes adjustments to operations to meet desired product specifications. These requirements need to align with broad company goals and capabilities. Next, we gather information about our business environment, such as market trends, industry cycles, and the economic conditions. We capture and report that information on an environmental dashboard and call it Feed Forward. This is similar to feedback, but it anticipates the future and the emerging opportunities and threats. From the information on the environmental dashboard, you can use a SWOT method to better plan your mission, vision, goals, strategies, and policies that guide routine decision making. This is based on a fundamental law of nature. If any intelligent system is to survive, it must be able to match the opportunities and threats in its environment with appropriate behaviors. It needs to approach opportunities and avoid threats. Your business is no exception. The world is filled with churn and burn. It can be overwhelming. But if you're going to survive, you need to understand what's going on out there. An environmental dashboard is used to monitor and report events, trends, cycles, and other conditions in your business environment. It will guide the SWOT method to match your business strengths to emerging opportunities, protect your weaknesses, and avoid threats. So, as inputs, what does it take to run a successful business? It takes an investment of time, effort, money, relationships, etc. We need to surround ourselves with suppliers, customers, partners. We have to do professional development and make time for ourselves. Now, a lot of people feel that it's all about making profit. I think we're kind of growing past that these days. We're realizing that profit is only a measure of value generated. It is not necessarily the thing that we strive for to maximize. There are studies in psychology that show that at some point when your basic needs are met, more money is not going to make you more happy. So as you can see here, you reach a kind of a plateau level. That may be around $80,000 a year or $100,000 or whatever it is to make yourself comfortable. And so at that point, an entrepreneur decides maybe there's more to this that I can get out of this business that isn't all about money. So we have soft benefits as well. Things that are harder to measure: collegiality, sense of community and belonging, ingenuity, and the list is long. But we're getting to a point now where we can start to appreciate these more and perhaps be able to measure these things as well. So at Wayfinders, for example, we're developing a system of key indicators to measure these other kinds of benefits other than strictly profits and costs. So we're putting together a package that will help our entrepreneur members measure social benefits, environmental benefits, labor practices, trade practices, good governance, and more. And this helps create a more complete picture of what it is we're all striving for, help capture and maintain our human values. Now, we all face threats coming at us as well from our environment. And so we need to create that buffer zone in our business model. What we're often feeling is a constant need to learn new things. So we're constantly climbing a learning curve of one sort or another. Maybe new software, maybe new processes, other technologies, and so on. It just seems to never end. The other threats, like automation replacing our labor, or losing customers for one reason or another, shortfalls, or just spreading ourselves too thin. Meanwhile, as an entrepreneur, you may not have any employment benefits you can count on. So a business, a co-op needs to be able to address these other issues and protect the members. In order to kind of maintain control of your business, It would be helpful if there was a management console. That is one, let's say, interactive screen that enables you to keep your fingertips right on the decisions that you need to make. You could pull in input from your advisors. You can control your business processes, maybe forecast the valued outcomes. So this would be a kind of a decision support system that would be great to have for any small business. Enables them to ensure that they're keeping on top of all the things they need to do in managing their small business. And the Small Business Intelligence Dashboard is a way of keeping track of how well you're doing. It displays your key performance indicators, or KPIs, in a way that's meaningful to you. And graphical display is very effective in giving a sense of the progress you're making, or if you're sliding in your performance. But it would be great too if that dashboard included not just the currency, the profits and losses, but also measures of your softer indicators. And it gives you the feedback to know how you can learn. That's one of the key pieces of this intelligence tool. The feedback is important so you can learn how to do better, more efficiently, more effectively. And it all starts with your personal profile. Who are you? Well, you are a thinker. Everyone is a thinker. And we research, analyze, plan, execute, collaborate, compete, and learn from the results of our performances. And you want your business model to revolve around that. So you do your personal assessment, find out exactly what are your strengths and your passions, and you look at the opportunities, focus on how you can align your core talents and passions with the market opportunities, and you bring in talent and tools that will supplement or complement your profile and complete the alignment with requirements of the target opportunities. Then you can create your business canvas here. This is one example of a business canvas, a quick and dirty business plan that you can see all at a glance. Key partners, activities, value proposition, etc. Okay, so then, for example, you may need to bring in people to complement to make sure that you have a full team. You want a diverse complementary talents at the table. Doesn't matter whether they're staff, partners, advisors, or contractors, you got to cover your bases. Now, in small business, what is it that slows you down? It's the disruptions. It's the constant selling. It's the constant learning curves, the uncertainty, conflict, anxiety, the brain fog, and a sense of you're being on your own without support. That's, in fact, however, only the symptoms of a chaotic world. Used to be things used, 100 years ago or even 50 years ago, things were routine, more business as usual. But today, we're inundated with stories from around the world about power struggles, politics, and global corporations, automation, misinformation, all kinds of things that are causing these kinds of anxieties and stresses. And we actually lose intelligence as a result. Recent studies show that people are actually dumbing down. They're not as smart as they used to be, probably because of the stress and distractions. We have a diminishing return on investment because it takes more effort to try to keep up and up to date with everything. Now, as big business and big government have scaled for the economy, they have not scaled ideally for our core human values. They're producing more uncertainty, more unknowns, more risks and anxieties. Are they producing more opportunities? Well, it's possible. Now, I'm going to be talking about how to manage in this world of complexity. There are opportunities on a grand scale, starting small and close to home. There's a journey of a lifetime here, but it starts with a minimal viable product. In the chaos theory, we talk about the butterfly effect. It begins at a small tipping point and it triggers an emergent paradigm shift. So, for example, a viral meme gets traction and is adopted as a fractal for organizing human activity. You don't have to get that right away, but I'm going to elaborate. So, we're going to be thriving in chaos by wayfinding. Now, people in systems theory and cybernetics and complex adaptive systems chaos theory, that body of knowledge, have come up with an ecosystem of wicked problems, as you see on the right or on the left. But there's also a set of principles that we can adopt as wayfinders that will keep us on the right path, a path of viability and sustainability. We need to create a community of value and trust, best management practices, build on the sharing economy and the gig economy to be agile. We want to adopt systems thinking and simplified management tools. We want to adopt deep integration of systems and adopt competitive volume discounts. All of this really comes about as a result of synergy. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. For example, we have customers, competitors, suppliers, and technologies, some of the key variables you need to track. What if these were on the same platform? What if they shared the same community, the same ecosystem? We can reduce the complexity and chaos of our world by setting our own standards, with fewer things to track and manage, fewer learning curves. You can think of yourself as the top of a pyramid. Around you, you have your business model as kind of a buffer or interface with the business community. But the community is also embedded in a supply network, an industrial cluster, a regional business ecosystem, ultimately a global economy or ecosystem. So all these different layers or spheres of influence, all interacting, all interdependent, and your reach from you and your business model to the global economy is quite a stretch. So your sphere of influence is greatest in your business model and your business community, where you may be a leader, for example. It's a network of systems. A change in one part triggers changes in other parts. There are a lot of moving parts here. So what can we do about that? Well, we can create a smarter world through systems cooperation. We can adopt smart systems approaches, systems thinking to managing yourself within your business within the business community within the supply network, industry cluster, business ecosystem, and beyond. If everyone was thinking along the same lines, everyone would be able to optimize their own performance and maximize the value created. So this would be done incrementally, starting close to home, by building your own business model on a systems theory kind of platform. Then you'll be able to amplify and have an impact on your immediate environment and outward accordingly. So in this diagram, we can see three models, with your business model on the left, the business environment on the right, and the business cooperative in between. On one hand, the co-op, the business co-op, helps amplify your ability to generate value. On the other hand, it reduces the impact of the business environment on your business model. We do that in a number of different ways. We already talked about the management console and dashboard. We'll be talking about these other components in a few moments. Each of these different methods and tools brings value to the small business and creates a better business environment as a result. So I want to talk for a moment about co-ops in general. They have adopted internationally 7 core principles, as you can see there on the left, and interpreted in ordinary language on the right. Everyone is welcome. It's open membership. Members elect the board of directors. Each member owns the business, 1 share in the business. This is not a subsidiary. We have no parent corporation. We come together to share and learn and grow together. And we understand that the cooperatives help each other, and we build strong communities with cooperatives. One of the key things about co-ops that makes them different is that the members each have 1 share and vote for their directors, the board of directors, and we have committees that make recommendations to the board. This makes co-ops social enterprises because they're democratically governed. Typical kinds of co-ops over the years: housing co-ops, consumer co-ops, service. In the West, farm co-ops have been very important, for buying seeds or for selling of grains. The co-ops are incorporated, usually for profit, and they distribute their surpluses in different ways that's built into their constitution and bylaws. They can be anywhere in the economy and any step along the value chain in any industry. Here's some typical ones you don't think about, like a credit union is actually a co-op. Some of the companies that are actually co-ops do not promote the fact that they're a co-op, but they are. So what is a business cooperative? Well, it's a kind of a service co-op that's providing service to its members who are small businesses. We come together to collaborate, achieve a win-win or a positive return on investment. Together we create a synergy and emergent values, things that we can't do separately, we can do as a result of working together. We share resources. We have collective intelligence. We can form agile teams to take on RFPs, for example. There's one typical kind of business platform co-op that's coming up now. These are all fairly recent, but ride hailing, for example, like Uber or Lyft, but owned and operated by the drivers themselves as a co-op. There's Community Resources Directory, which is kind of a community development co-op where any surplus space or tools, could be a tool shed, for example, are listed, and you can book the space or the tools on an as-needed basis and pay as you go. Same with casual labor pools. This is another kind of co-op that's been formed for business. But those are specialized. A Wayfinders Business Cooperative, we have more of a holistic view that we have many functions to play for various kinds of businesses. So we're trying to create an actual and a virtual business community or ecosystem. So what follows in the next few slides are types of services to be offered by a Wayfinders Business Cooperative, either live and in person or on a cloud platform. Either way, we want to preserve a sense of community designed completely with our human values, capabilities, and sensibilities included. There are various states of development of these services, from notional to actually deliverable. This first one here, we talk about a community of trust and the things that go into making a successful community of trust. So one of the things that's been missing and eroding in our world today of chaos is a breakdown of a sense of community and trust. So we want to be able to rebuild that using appropriate tools and methods. I had already talked about some of the productivity tools that we would include in our cloud platform, management console, performance dashboard, but tools for all kinds of requirements for your small business, um, like workflow management, document management, accounting. All of these things can be done in our single cloud environment, which people get to use routinely, single navigation system, and the other businesses that you do business with in Wayfinders will be already up to speed in using those tools, so you can get down to business quickly, get the job done, and move on to the next project. As a community of practice, there's a sharing opportunity. Um, in a chaotic world, you have to keep learning and adapting. So it means sharing best management practices in a variety of ways, both live and online. So we'll have the same kinds of tools you'd see elsewhere, but in one place, and cohesive. That is, that they make sense when you put them together. The content will be similar, how to make sales, how to do accounting, how to manage staff, etc. But the delivery mechanism will be varied. As a community of resources, we have a community of abundance now. We in our community, there's a lot of surplus or idle resources, but we don't know how to access them. We can create a space in a cloud environment where people can find these spaces and book them and pay as they go. Wayfinders and local chapters of Wayfinders could actually own those facilities as well. Specialized places like for example, maker spaces or a collective kitchen, co-worker spaces, etc. All of these things are possible within the tools that we have today. Now, community intelligence is kind of a play on collective intelligence. Again, getting back to this idea of synergy. I'm a little bit reluctant to talk about all of the theoretical stuff that goes behind this because it is kind of esoteric, but there is an approach to using systems theory and facilitation methods to maximize our community intelligence, creating synergy, creating an opportunity for new ideas to emerge that no one was able to identify on their own. As a matter of fact, tonight we are having a mastermind event that will help people create new ideas for managing businesses. Community purchasing, this is one of the core things that co-ops were meant to do by achieving an economy of scale with numbers. The more members you have, in theory, the cheaper you should be able to get goods. We can do that through member-to-member discounts, a shared purchasing portal when people need to buy office supplies or office equipment in the same time period, they can get a volume discount. We're also going to explore supply chain optimization, e-commerce, and a barter board as ways of reducing the costs of doing business among members. And now, last but not least, here is the where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. Local chapters. This is where we can have smaller groups on a human scale come together, where people network, they have social events, they share facilities, and they promote local industry clusters, economic development. So the idea is that we give people a kind of a template to follow for how to start and manage a local chapter of Wayfinders. It could be rural or it could be urban business neighborhood, a business district. It could even be an industry cluster. Doesn't really matter. The thing is, we're bringing people together to use shared standardized tools and methods to achieve more together. Ultimately, this could become a global federated co-op. Now, to put this into context again, we're facing a very complex, chaotic world. We need to make a paradigm shift to a more efficient and effective way to manage the civil complexity that is growing around the world today. And I'm proposing a systems approach which we turn into a scalable fractal. I'm not alone in this. There are books written on how to create a fractal organization, and we can use the same concepts to build a fractal business community, same principles holding things together, the concepts of systems theory, and scale that up to include the business ecosystem and beyond. So the whole system becomes an intelligent, living system. Bottom line is that we are stronger together. There is a synergy that is created when we work smartly together, recognizing our differences and developing a kind of a collective intelligence among us. This may be a little overquoted these days, I don't know, but never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And that's from Margaret Mead. Currently reading a book by her late husband, Gregory Bateson, an ecosystem of the mind. So it is doable, but these days we talk about minimal viable products, starting local, and that's what we're doing. As a board of directors here, we're leading Wayfinders to achieve great things. These are all local people, entrepreneurs. We have about 60 members in total today, and hopefully we'll have a few more joining us shortly. We haven't been promoting it because we are trying to get more of our events together and our cloud to do better show and tell of what the potential possibilities are. So we need you, we need people. This has been done on a volunteer basis largely. We've had a few small grants, but we need people who have talents and abilities and time to join us and each bring their own unique talents to the table. And so we're encouraging you to become a Wayfinder and join us today. In summary, business cooperatives are emerging as a great supportive environment for small business success. They are designed, built, managed, and governed by their entrepreneurial members. They provide a hybrid, live digital business ecosystem. And there you go. Thank you from Wayfinders. And you can reach us at the landing.wayfindersbusinesscooperative.ca.